projection.
Welcome everybody to Taking on Sports. I am TD. That is Greg. Greg, how you doing, man?
I am pretty good today. How are you today, sir?
I could be better.
I hear you. Yeah.
This is why I don't have hope as a Ravens fan. Tough day. Tough
Yeah.
day. I guess let's just go ahead and jump into that. AFC title game. Ravens home team, and the first time since the 60s when they were the Colts were in town. The AFC title game in Baltimore. A lot of hype, a lot of expectation coming into it, and they just kind of, honestly, shit the bed, really. Uh, Chiefs, I think the two stories of the game, Chiefs dominated the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Um, Ravens weren't really able to get pressure on Mahomes until later in the game. But we'll come back to that. And then I think the bigger story is that there's just the coaching. Todd Monken, great pickup as offense coordinator for the Ravens all year, really transformed that offense. Lamar, another MVP year, probably behind him, but just did not call a good game today. Ravens' best rushing offense in the league. Chiefs, one of the worst rush defenses, and they only called 13 designed run plays today. Only 2 in the second half. It's just ridiculous. From a Ravens fan standpoint, it was a really frustrating loss to see that, to just
For sure.
not really understand what he was trying to do. And of course, the talk I think all week will probably be about, Lamar didn't, played it, but he really couldn't do anything. His line was getting beat, didn't have time to throw. The Chiefs just knew that the pass was coming, so they were just pin their ears back and go.
Yeah,
What
that
was your
blitz was
take on it?
crazy. Yeah, I was just, the Chiefs just came out and just immediately, man, I knew it was going to be maybe a long day for the Ravens when they just went up the field on that first drive and this quick seven, just like that. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
As good as the Ravens defense has played all season, like, you expect that at some point for the Chiefs to have offense quick, but on that first drive, you would hope that they would have at least, got a 3 and out or, held them to a field goal. But I mean, they quickly just went up that field and you're like, oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, they're definitely not the Ravens team that we've seen all year for the most part. And,
Mm-mm.
you guys are known for running the ball. I mean, passing when you have to. We have a, they just seem panicked with the play callings. Just trying to get everything back at once rather than trust the process has gotten you to the AFC title game. So, I know he's a rookie OC in the NFL. I don't know, if that has anything to do with it or not. But, it's a hell of a season. But yeah, you hate to see it end like that, especially, at home with probably the best chance for, everything was going their way as far as this was the year that they looked really good for the Baltimore to get there.
Yeah, like you said, wasting the home field advantage. That was a loud, hyped crowd. They
It
had
was great
Ray
crowd.
Lewis and Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs in
Hmm.
attendance. I will say, props to I want to say Mike McDonald and the defense after, like you
Hmm.
mentioned, that first couple drives really the Chiefs, and there were long drives too. Their first 2 scoring
Yeah.
drives, 10 plays, 86 yards, 5 minutes,
Hmm.
and then 16 plays, 75 yards, a 9-minute drive
Yeah.
for their second touchdown. And then they added another 8-play, 55-yard drive late in the first half to
Yeah.
add that field goal. But in the second half, nothing. The Ravens
Yeah.
really shut them down. The
Clamp
defense
down.
played
Yeah.
great second half, but the offense, I think I said online at one point, this was like a peak mid 2000s Brian Billick era performance where
Mhm.
the defense was just doing everything they could to keep them in the game, and the offense was giving them nothing. Um,
Right.
and you hate to see that with the MVP at quarterback, and then, like I said, the best running game in NFL, and they just didn't run the ball. I'd like to watch some press conferences and just ask Todd Monken what the hell was up with that, man. Like,
Yeah. For sure.
just do not understand it. It was ridiculous. And they still had their chances, big plays. Zay Flowers the
Oh
rookie,
boy.
great pick, made a couple great plays, and then some
Yeah.
dumb rookie stuff. He made a huge play, and what was that? In the fourth quarter, about 10 minutes left, got the ball down to the 9, and then immediately got a unsportsmanlike penalty for
Yeah.
throwing the ball in the
Taunting.
defender's face, taunting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then comes back a couple plays later, and some people might call it a rookie mistake. I don't think so. He was just trying to make an effort play, caught the ball, made a move, dove for the
Hmm.
end zone. A great play by the Kansas City defender to knock the ball out.
Yeah.
Just like
Tough
last
stuff.
week against Buffalo, yeah, they got a fumble right at the goal line, recovered it in the end zone. Um,
Yeah, that was definitely tough. Like, oh wow. I mean, Zay Flowers,
yeah,
they had a heck of a rookie season. But yeah, those two. I mean,
hmm
that's what everybody's gonna remember about his whole season, unfortunately.
yeah. And then, like you
And
said, you're just wondering like what Monken was doing, just all the passing, and it's like they were trying. Is like there's no such thing as a 10-point touchdown.
yeah,
They could have ran the ball plenty of times, and so that's what I'm going to remember from the
exactly.
game.
Yeah.
Uh, Lamar didn't make some, him that obviously that interception in a triple coverage was horrible throw, just not the right
Hmm.
read at all. Um, but he was just trying to do something. The offense
Yeah.
just could not do anything. Credit to the Chiefs defense, but again, I got to go with the game plan. Like, where was the run game? Why did they even sign
Right.
Dalvin Cook if he didn't even appear in this game?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what was up? I mean, you have to wonder. I mean, was that the plan going in? Did they get scared? Like, what? Did they immediately think that they had to? Because obviously, the Chiefs defense knew exactly what they were doing. I mean, they were going to blitz,
Mhm,
and the best way to beat the blitz is with the running game. You
mhm.
know, and yeah, they just seemed really seemed out of sorts. The defense did in the first half, but they really definitely, as you said, picked it up in that second. But the offense was just out of sorts all day, never got comfortable, and then they just
Mm.
every time it seemed like that they were rolling, something terrible happened in that second half.
Yeah. And they let defensively, the one thing that did annoy me with the game plan was they let Travis Kelsey kill him, and
Yeah,
that's the one thing you can't do. You have to take him out the game and force those other guys to step up. And
yeah,
um, he had a huge game, broke Jerry Rice's record for most receptions in playoff history all time.
which is crazy.
Crazy, yeah. To think anybody would break any record of Jerry Rice's, but the Chiefs have played in so many playoff games during Kelsey's tenure there, so
Yeah, yeah,
um, he deserved it. But yeah, it was just unfortunate. And even with that, though, I saw a stat they only averaged 4.3 yards a play. So the defense did
hmm
its job. And
yeah,
then, of course, late in the game, the big fourth down call to ice the
oh,
game came out. And it was, again, the one decision. Mike McDonald's not a big blitzer, but you figure in that position, they might just bring the all
right.
out blitz, and they didn't. And great play called by Andy Reid, great throw by Mahomes to get over the top to MVC caught that huge ice the game. Um,
Yeah,
but that's why the Chiefs are the Chiefs for a reason. Um,
right.
it's tough, but like you said, it's tough to have them in your house, be the number one seed, have the probable MVP, and just kind of put that kind of performance up.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Very frustrating. I know you was a lifelong fan and
mhm,
a passionate fan. I know the fan base is upset though. The only thing that I am gonna say is I'm gonna, stay away from uh, TV tomorrow because all they'll do is blame Lamar for everything, and
mhm,
because it's such a double standard with Lamar. They love him,
mhm.
but they tear him down worse than any other quarterback whenever the media gets a chance. So
Yeah, and like I
definitely.
said, he
He
made that.
obviously didn't have a great game, but I mean,
No,
what quarterback would have with the game plan the way the Chiefs planned it?
hmm
Spagnuolo's blitzes was man,
yeah,
they were just there.
just did nothing to help him out. And of course, he was doing Lamar things. Scrambled, had that completed a pass to himself to convert a third down. Crazy
Right.
moment. but yeah, he was just not given a lot to work with. Todd Monken did nothing to alleviate that pass rush. No, did not go to the run game, did not throw screens really.
Right.
Just and it's double frustrating as a Alabama fan and Ravens fan to watch
Oh yeah.
our both our coordinators in the last game of the year kind of just
Shit the
look at it
bed.
and go, what? Yeah, what are you guys doing here, guys? We didn't do what got us here.
Right. Exactly.
But so it goes. The Chiefs move on to their fourth Super Bowl in the Mahomes era,
Jeez.
and the Ravens, try to regroup. Move to the offseason now. You got a lot of free
Yeah.
agency stuff to worry. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, both free agents. Odell Beckham, Nelson Aguilar, free agents. I
Hmm.
think if you're the Ravens, you got to focus on that line. You got to maybe. And do you draft another receiver to add to Flowers? Do you try to re-sign if OBJ or somebody wants to re-sign at a discount? You
Right.
got to. You imagine you got to sign Justin Matabuke. He's a free agent. Do you franchise
Oh
tag him
yeah.
after his just phenomenal year? Patrick
For
Queen's going to
sure.
be a free agent. You
Oof.
probably have to make a choice between one of those two. So yeah, a lot of questions for the Ravens moving in the offseason. And then of course we'll get to coaching changes, but
Yeah.
are Munkin and McDonald, are they going to be offered one of these open head coaching positions,
Was
or
the
are they going to
two left with the Seahawks and the
Commanders?
Seahawks
Yeah,
and the Commanders? Yeah. And they seem to be waiting for somebody out of this championship weekend.
yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I think that's about that for that game. And the other one, the NFC title game going on right now, the Lions jumped out to a hot start, 17-point lead
Yeah, they
early.
did.
Some Bama boys showing out. Jameson Williams scoring on a
Yeah.
reverse. Jameer Gibbs getting a touchdown. But the Niners have come back. It is tied as we record this right now. It's about under 12 minutes to go in the game. Tied at 24, and the Niners are driving.
Our driving. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you make of that Detroit's hot start there?
That was quite, man. Yeah, they just, I mean, that's the thing with Detroit is, they have it. I guess that's they're fun to watch, but that's the thing with Detroit. It's frustrating at times is they go cold. And they have some, but they're not consistent. If they could figure out how to be consistent with that offense all the time, I mean, this game would be over. But they've kind of gone
Mm-hmm.
cold, and that's been their, kind of their up and down throughout the season. And it's where they'll show you flashes of greatness, but then go several series without doing anything. So hopefully they'll get it together here. But I mean, kudos to the Niners. I mean, obviously they've been in quite a few NFC title games as of late, so they're more getting down. 17 really didn't seem to affect them at all.
Mm-hmm.
They just bounced back, and yeah, especially the Lions didn't kick that field goal to go back up seven.
Mm-hmm.
Was it back up? And then after that, then they scored, and Jameer fumbled, and after bad handoff from the get go, and now it looks like Niners about to go up three here. At least they held them to a
Mm-hmm.
field goal, so that's how it's a positive thing there. But there's still plenty of time, but they just have to be confident in what they've done to get themselves there and not get away from what works, and just hopefully can get some done here because honestly, as a Cowboys fan, this is my biggest thing is to not see the Niners in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Detroit, obviously the America's team for now.
For sure. Yeah, I mean,
Everybody, the only team that's been in the NFL the entirety of the Super Bowl era to not make the Super Bowl.
jeez,
Um,
that's crazy.
it's crazy. Although they said that I don't, the Browns never made a Super Bowl, have they? So and I'm pretty sure they were
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
So
I'm pretty
maybe,
sure. Yeah, they were one there.
uh, unless when they said that earlier, they were counting the Browns not being around for a few years, but
Right,
um, maybe the only NFC team, perhaps.
for sure.
Um,
Yeah,
but but yeah, like you said, the Niners up three now. A big decision by Detroit to not kick it a field goal. They could at least be maybe tied now or.
Yeah, but we know that that's Dan Campbell's MO.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
win, win or lose. I mean, he sticks with what he believes in. I mean, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's consistent. You know exactly what he's gonna do at all times. But
Yeah.
um, sometimes it's glorious, sometimes it's not.
But yeah, we'll certainly keep our eyes on that one as we record this
For
episode
sure.
here. Um, we'll stay with the NFL. Some off field news, of course, this week in the coaching ranks. The big news, of course, Jim Harbaugh officially back in the NFL and Los Angeles as the Chargers coach. What pretty much everyone thought.
Right.
Um, I think we talked about it before. Not much to add. It's a great situation for him. Comes in's got Justin Herbert, great quarterback.
Whew,
Um,
a lot of talent.
a lot of talent. He's bringing his defensive coordinator with him from Michigan.
Yeah.
Um, his name I'm
It
just
seems
blanking
like
on right now.
it
Yeah.
seems based upon last couple of seasons, Michigan's defense has been very solid. So it
Hmm.
seems like a home run hire as far as bringing him to the NFL. Whether that translates to the league, we'll see. But at least going in, I mean, you would have to think should work. I mean, as tough as it's been for the Chargers at times defensively, much welcomed, I'm sure, for what is of that fan base still. Who knows? But I know they probably still have some lifelongs in San Diego, but I'm definitely not the most popular in LA. But it's I like you like it. We've seen Harbaugh having had success in the NFL, of course, with these Niners, took them to the Super Bowl and NFC title game. So it's already had NFL success, and honestly, this may be a talent-wise, especially on the offensive side, you can honestly say probably a little better here the second go around in the league for Jim. But the defense
Yeah.
was stacked. The offense was solid, but I think this
Mhm.
so it'd be interesting. I think as if it's still definitely the Chiefs' division for sure, but I think it becomes a much more interesting division with Jim Harbaugh in the same division there. But Andy Reid is the
Yeah, absolutely. And poor Antonio Pierce in Las Vegas, man. The three other coaches in his division: Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, and uh, Sean Payton in
yeah,
Denver. There, it's a hell of a guys to go against 6 games a year.
right. All the
Um,
all the There's all the experience that they've had as
uh,
NFL head coaches. It's your
yeah,
first true gig go as the guy. So wow.
and you probably have the weakest roster of the four too. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, so Harbaugh back in the NFL. Other changes: the Titans hired Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan. Um, so they'll hope that he can develop Will Levis.
I
Um,
mean, he has some history as a good QB guy, but I
yeah,
just don't.
exactly. He helped develop Joe Burrow, but Will Levis not quite on Joe Burrow's level. So
No, not quite.
we'll see how that hire works out for them.
Right.
Ooh, Jameson could have had that one. It looks like. Oh,
Oh, wow.
hit
Wow.
him in, hit him in the hands.
Wow.
Ooh,
Gotta catch
tough one.
that.
Yeah, that's a
Oof.
touchdown, JMO. Come on. Um,
Gotta get that.
the Falcons did not hire Bill Belichick. They hired Raheem Morris,
Raheem
Los
Morris. Wow.
Angeles defense coordinator, former Bucks head coach back in the day,
Bucks
right?
head coach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was a Bucks head coach. And I think he had an interim stint with the Falcons as well at some point.
Hmm. Yeah. So they opt to go defense after the Arthur Smith years. I thought maybe a little odd. I didn't really think defense was their big problem, and just someone that take advantage of
No.
all that weapons they have on
Offensive talent.
offense.
Yeah.
But we'll see what they do as for
No.
offensive coordinator hire.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I mean, it was I don't know, just kind of a higher. I mean, I understand they're going the Belichick route. I mean, it seemed like Arthur Blank was high Belichick at Wilson front office.
Mhm.
Was looking to go elsewhere, of course. Why wouldn't they? Because of course, Bill Belichick, many. would have expected him to be the front office as well. So I see why the rest of the front office was like no. But
Mm-hmm.
so but not the sexiest hire. I mean, he's had some NFL, of course. He's had to run with the Bucks. Not that the Bucks run a. I mean, it's hard to say just because I mean, what the Bucks are a bad team when he was the head coach, so you can't
Yeah, yeah.
put that all on him. So it's hard. Sometimes it's just hard to say. I think a lot of it's just your situation. I mean, obviously, you've done something right in order to become a NFL head coach. It's just a matter of your situation and what you bring to make the team better. Obviously, and we know Atlanta has a lot of young talent. It's just a matter of how are you able to capitalize on that. I don't think that was done well a lot of the time during Arthur Smith here. Not very. I don't know. The offense should have been much better than what it was. They kind of just underachieved. I thought. I mean, I thought really they should have won. They should have won the South at least. I thought they should have been a much better contender this season, especially with how down the
Mm-hmm.
South was for the most part, and they kind of underachieved there. So it'll be interesting to see, yeah, what they do. With the uh, the offensive coordinator, and also what they do with the quarterback. I mean, do they want to go the draft route? Do they want to see about signing somebody? So that'll
Mm-hmm.
be interesting to see what they do there.
Yeah. They are tabbing uh, Zach Robinson, who was the Rams quarterbacks coach and passing game
Hmm.
coordinator. He's coming with Raheem from LA to be their offensive coordinator. So
Oh, okay.
he, former Oklahoma State quarterback.
That's
Um,
what that's what I was thinking. That name
yeah.
sounds very, very familiar. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm, yeah. So of course, I think we talked about it before, but their thing, they got to find a quarterback to get those
yeah,
weapons, the ball.
for sure.
Um, Des Ritter and Taylor Hinkie. Tyler Hinkie,
Nah, that's not gonna
not
get you.
yeah,
No, it's not gonna get you anywhere.
it's not working for him. Um, let's see elsewhere. Carolina has gotten Tampa Bay offense coordinator Dave Canales as their new head coach. He will be his job is to develop Bryce Young and do pretty much anything will be better than this season. You would think.
Good God, yes.
Um, oh, and it looks like right here we talked about. Well, Dave Campbell likes to go for it on fourth down. The Lions 4th and 3 at the Niners 30 going for it instead
Oh,
of taking the field goal to tie.
jeez.
Ooh. Ooh.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah,
Nope. Did not get it. Questionable call there instead of taking the points in the tie.
golly.
It would have been a 47-yard field goal there.
Mm, you would hope a makeable one. It's not
Let's
bad
watch.
weather or anything out there.
Hey, watching a
Yes.
replay here.
Oh,
Did he have someone
oh.
across the middle? No, he didn't.
I I thought
Oh,
it looked like he kind
yeah, maybe just shorted the throw. Maybe had Brown there if he could have tried to throw on the run there. But so let's see.
I'm just like, why? I don't know. Like, if I have
Mm,
J Mo and Jameer Gibbs, someone's gonna
mhm.
screen pass right there for the 3 yards. I'm
Yeah,
fine.
one of those Chief style screen pass where it's a real quick
Yeah,
throw, like a half step
right.
throw, and
Exactly.
And that, let's see if now the Niners, I imagine, will try to go to the run game here and work this
Yeah.
clock some
Ice the
under eight
clock
minutes
down.
to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
make it a two-score game if they can.
Oh,
So yeah, you
man.
mentioned Seattle and Washington still open as far as head coaching vacancies.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Vrabel's still out there. I know his name's been
Like,
talked about in Seattle,
yeah.
um, which might be his kind of thing. Geno Smith and Kenneth Walker up there in the backfield. That could be
Yeah.
his type of thing, or hell, maybe he convinces them to bring in Derrick Henry for a year or two.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, It'd be
But
quite the
yeah,
change in scenery, though, going from Nashville to
yeah.
Seattle for sure. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, I don't even, honestly, I don't know what Seattle's even really thinking or what they want to do. Um, I
Yeah.
mean,
But let's see. Other news: Kellen Moore, former offensive coordinator of your Cowboys, former
oh,
Chargers
that's
offensive
funny.
coordinator now, is now
Well,
the
Philly,
Philly OC. He is
yeah,
tasked with saving that offense.
that is funny. I think that's hilarious. But
Yeah,
that's,
that's. Well, I was going to ask for your
that's
reaction,
a,
but that's it right there.
I mean, I mean, I've seen him have some great moments. I've also seen he have, I don't know, he just never figured things out fully. I mean, plenty of
Mhm.
times had the best offensive talent there, and when CeeDee Lamb's not getting the ball, it's like, what are we doing? So, I mean, I was so happy when he left. I think it's great he's going to Philly. Hopefully, hopefully it continues there. But well, we'll see. I mean, I mean, he obviously knows how to call an offense. I mean, it's not like he was terrible in Dallas.
Mhm.
To me, he's kind of like Bill O'Brien. Stat wise, you're like, oh man, that's amazing.
Mhm.
But if you really break down and look at the games, it's a different situation. Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, situation.
Just
Yeah.
horrible situational. But stat wise, you're like, oh, that's awesome. But that's why, when you just look at stats, that then just looking at stats, especially in football, doesn't tell half of the game, man, a lot of the time. So that's what I'll say about Kellen Moore.
Mhm. Yeah, he's obviously he's worked with mobile quarterbacks before, so he's got
hmm
a pretty good one in Jalen Hurts at his disposal now. But
Oh yeah,
interesting
we'll see.
hire. Oh,
hmm
Brock Purdy, big scramble on third down there. Um, but yeah, and I think let's see, might be it for the NFL coaching news. Bills officially named Joe Brady offensive coordinator. Um, Browns hiring ex-Bills offensive coordinator Ken
Yeah,
Dorsey as their offensive coordinator.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, moving on to the college game real quick. Couple notes. We mentioned Harbaugh's gone from Michigan. Sharon Moore
hmm
moves up. Obviously did well replacing Harbaugh this year in the games he missed.
Right.
Popular pick among the players. Probably really helps in recruiting.
And it helps
Um,
keep the team
uh,
intact
I bet
without
say
getting
it could.
raided in the transfer portal.
I bet say that could be big, because the
Mm.
30-day window open for them now, and really haven't seen any big departures.
But
Um,
at the same time, it seemed like a lot of their key people were going pro. Of course, I
yeah,
mean,
they're
there's still a lot of talent there, but the big names are all going pro. So,
mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, they're losing a lot to graduation in the draft. Yeah, so
yeah, they
I was
are.
Christian
They were definitely
McCaffrey.
all older. Oof, yeah,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
starting
C
to look
Mac.
over with.
Yeah, C Mac breaks off a big run. Niners have
Oof,
first and goal from the 3 now. So
yeah, and
Detroit in
honestly, that's
desperation mode, and
and left 6 points off the board. Jeez.
yep, and here it is right here. Elijah Mitchell touchdown.
Mm.
Uh, So that's
Yeah,
huge. Now that that
that's
that call
pretty
coming
much.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah, this now is a 10-point game when it could have been a 7-point game, and now you got
yeah,
3 minutes left. So
yeah. But
unless they come back, I'm having a feeling that a lot of questions will be asked about that fourth down decision.
yeah.
A couple of them
hmm
actually.
Couple of them
Um,
there. Yeah,
yeah.
because it's good. Looks like good night time for the Lions.
hmm
Yeah.
Um, Elsewhere in college football. Oh, actually, well, staying with Michigan, we talked to. Do you think that Moore has enough experience for that high level of job? Obviously, he's a good emotional hire and all that, but if
Yeah.
you look at his resume, he's a younger guy.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
is Michigan
I
taking too much
don't
of a
know.
gamble here?
That I don't know. What I mean. It kind of seems it's pretty much like very similar to the Freeman hire at Notre Dame. It's kind of the hire that popular with the players, kind of after Brian Kelly left. I think that had a lot to do with a lot of the Notre Dame players staying in South Bend was, you know, Freeman, and he's been up and down. You can still tell he's raw, but he might be the guy. I think Sherrone Moore is kind of the same way. Because obviously, even he did have success, when he was, I mean, he beat Ohio State. I mean, he handled business. He beat Penn State. And that's big, big. But at the same time, Harbaugh was still there throughout the week.
Hmm.
It wasn't like Harbaugh wasn't there at all. He just wasn't there on Saturday. So, yeah, he had 6 days to get everything prepared. So, I mean, I think it's kind of wait and see. Hopefully, the thing with these type of hires, though, is how much patience are they going to have? Because remember, a couple years ago, they were ready to run Harbaugh out of time before he went on his little hot streak, started
Hmm.
finally beating Ohio State and made the playoffs. Then when they lost to Georgia in that playoff, I mean, if he had then beat Ohio State that year, he was getting fired.
Hmm.
So I mean,
Hmm.
and Harbaugh went from the outhouse to the penthouse, over the last couple of years. Um, so will they be as forgiving of Sherrone Moore? It's hard to say. Hopefully they, and also, the Big Ten, just became a lot tougher as well. I mean, of course,
Hmm.
adding Oregon, USC, Washington, I mean, that
Hmm.
just became a much tougher thing. At the same time, it became maybe not as, I mean, you're still a little better with having the now 12 team playoffs, so you don't have to be perfect every year.
That's right.
But,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, and I think that's
I think
about
it's kind of wait and see.
yeah, what their expectations are. Does getting them to the
Yeah,
playoffs every year, is that enough, or does he have to make a title game?
yeah,
Obviously, beating Ohio State's a huge thing there.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. It's I think that Freeman comparison is a really good one. Elsewhere in college football, uh, Kalen DeBoer, much better week this week. Instead of players leaving, it's about players staying or
People
committing.
coming in.
Yeah, big star
Thank you, Mr.
receiving
Williams.
recruit. Yeah, Ryan Williams recommitted. Literally sent his little tweet out saying he recommitted a minute after the Alabama Auburn basketball game went final, which we'll get to.
Hmm.
Um, but huge, huge get for DeBoer and the Tide.
Yeah,
Um, Maybe the best in-state prospect since Julio Jones, really.
yeah.
At
And,
least on the
it's
offensive
almost
side ball. Yeah.
for sure. And it's quite different situations, but a lot of comparison of Saban's
Hmm.
signing a Julio, to DeBoer signing a Ryan Williams, kind of their first real big guy that they're able to, get back there. But good they're able to get reel him back in after
Hmm.
he jumped in the portal for a quick second. I mean,
Hmm.
honestly, I don't know if he really ever considered leaving. I think it was just a matter of meeting the coaches and seeing when they, make sure that they were all, on the same page, which of course is the type of player he is. You would have to think, well, what we've seen from this offensive staff at Washington. I mean, sky's the limit for Ryan Williams in Tuscaloosa. So I think it fits well long term. I think he saw that, and so far though, just quite the different atmosphere in Tuscaloosa. I mean, Ryan, DeBoer, he he tweets, you know, they had Roll Tide Willie in the facility. That's not
Hmm.
happening under Saban. So quite the different, quite a
Uh,
different, quite a different atmosphere. I mean, more friendly to the, the new day recruiters about social media and a more fun atmosphere. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen is just how much different the atmosphere appears there so far.
mhm. It's a as much as you want certain things to stay the same, keep the infrastructure that Saban built, you do have to put your own twist on it, and so
Right.
that's good. And like I said, getting Williams is huge. Got to commit from a big time edge rusher.
Hmm.
Yeah, so bringing in I think we talked about that last week, though, bringing in that receiver from Washington. Yeah, I think that actually broke while we were recording.
Yeah,
You mentioned it.
it did.
Um,
And that was
but
that's huge. Just kind of that's how that's pretty much the replacement that we needed there.
mhm.
So,
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for that. Nothing else really big going on in the college game outside of more getting his promotion at Michigan.
right.
So didn't really create the huge dominoes that some rumors were saying that might happen. There was a Brian Kelly to Michigan out there, which of
Yeah,
course.
and that's. I mean, I get it as far as him. I guess being more of a Midwest guy, but I
Hmm.
was thinking, dude, he'd be crazy as heck to leave all that talent that is in LSU
Hmm.
right now. This would be crazy because, honestly, what Michigan's won with is not as far as the 4 and 5 star guys. I mean, it's not a lot of that. I mean, it's solid talent, but it's not the big. I mean, what they're in like the 20s and stuff when recruiting most years. It's not what LSU's doing recruiting. Yeah, I would have thought Brian Kelly would have been crazy to leave LSU for any
Yeah.
job, honestly, just with what
Uh,
the talent he's brought in, and they've recruited well since he's been there.
hmm.
Appear to have their quarterback of the future, and then of course just the talent of the South and Louisiana. I mean, why would you ever leave that if you're not fired? No.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of those jobs. If you just have a half competent program there, it's just the culture down there is like you play football anywhere in that state, you want to play at LSU.
Yeah.
With yeah, like you mentioned, all that Louisiana talent, all that talent around the New Orleans metro area.
Hmm.
Um, of course,
I mean,
other
you're
schools,
literally the only
Texas
Power
and
Five.
Alabama. Yeah.
You're the only Power Five team in the state. I mean, of course, there's other colleges, but you're
Mm.
the Division 1 powerhouse in the state. You have no other competition. Like
Yeah,
you're in a
exactly.
league of
Yeah.
your own. Like
Yeah, Tulane's a smaller school and the academic school, so they have
yeah,
their, restrictions. And then,
limitations. Right.
like you said, maybe in Alabama or Texas comes in there, big schools come in there to try to get the big talent, and they steal some certainly, but like I said, for like 95% of the guys there, there's a. Did you get that?
I think
Um,
you got it. I mean,
I
and
think
you
I got.
gotta. I mean, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, you gotta look. I mean, Edo won a title there. Obviously, Edo's not a
Hmm.
great head coach, but he had such a boatload of talent that year. You know,
Yeah.
the grass eater Miles. I mean, we've seen how up and down he is. He won a title, was in another title game. So I mean, just the talent itself can carry you. You should have to
Hmm.
be. And I wouldn't exactly say. I would say Brian Kelly, as far as coaching wise, is much more competent than both those guys.
Hmm.
He's not everywhere. He's gonna be consistent. So yeah, I would never leave that job unless they say I'm fired. If I'm Brian Kelly, especially for another college job, there's
Yeah.
nothing that would move me.
No. Yeah. So yeah. Probably. I guess that's it for the college coaching carousel, barring any
Hmm.
major surprises. It's only there'll be one more signing day, a few big recruits left,
Few things in February.
uh, and then you'll have spring practice and the spring transfer portal coming up, and
We'll see what happens there because I'm sure it'll be a
oh
lot to run. Hopefully, ours will be additions and not subtractions in Tuscaloosa. Right. Hopefully, we'll
yeah, exactly.
eat well in the spring and get some folks that we need there. If
Hmm. Yeah, that was thinking about that whole Brian Kelly rumor. I think overall, it's like, yeah, I'd rather keep Brian Kelly in LSU because while he is certainly a good coach, he has his limitations. It seems like, and so
he does,
especially if
but
rumors are the him not really fitting into the culture there are
mhm.
true, then but if he had gone to Michigan, then that's Michigan and LSU players being available in a portal, and you like
Oh
hopefully a
boy,
feasting day. Yeah.
especially the LSU talent. My
Uh-huh.
goodness, my goodness. So yeah.
exactly. But yeah, that's about it for the college football game. As ooh, all right, there we go. Is that Jamison Williams catching his second touchdown in the game here?
Phew.
Um, another fourth
Yeah.
down call by the Lions there instead of kicking a field goal there
Kicking the field
because
goal. Golly, he plays. Boy, he plays with smoke.
he does indeed.
Wow.
Um,
I mean, when it works, boy, you look like the genius. But boy, if it
mm,
doesn't, can you imagine if Jameson doesn't get that touchdown?
ooh,
That's
yeah,
9 points you done wasted.
that's crazy. But so now 56 seconds left, 34-31. Detroit has two timeouts, so they'll be going for the onside kick here.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll move to the college hardwood. Big week for Bama hoops. We talked about it
Yeah, it
last
was.
week. It was a huge game on Wednesday. Auburn coming to
Hmm.
town, handed them their first SEC loss. Great atmosphere in Coleman.
Oh,
The
it was
fan,
beautiful.
the fans giving our boy Jay Williams some shit. You know, he called it last time he was there. Called it a tennis match, and
Yeah, they were
well,
ready for him.
they were ready. Pretty loud for a tennis match, and he's a good sport about it
Yeah,
too, posing with the
yeah,
student
yeah,
section. But the crowd brought the heat, and the Alabama
yeah. They
team brought the
did.
heat. And a 4-point win over Auburn handed them their first SEC loss, and now two in a row as they lost
To
another one.
Mississippi State yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah, and then followed it up with a big blowout win over LSU. Something we've seen now a few times, especially in SEC play, a huge second half.
yeah. Huge sick half.
Uh,
You know, it was close first half, but yeah, we closed out on a little run there. But yeah, that second half, they just came out on really took it over by about the 10-minute mark. It was definitely over. I mean, we just kind of put them to sleep there. But hey, you know, the definitely the type of win you like to see because you know sometimes after a big emotional win over your rival, you always wonder how you're going to come out against the team that you're expected to beat. In LSU, which is still trying to find themselves. But you know they handle business, and you know two games in a row, the 3-point shot was falling. So that's a
mm-hmm,
you love to see it because of course we that's our bread and butter, and you know we play of course much better when things are happening. You know when the thing is going. But you know I would say for the most part outside of the Tennessee game, I mean the month of January has been pretty definitely successful. You know the team seems to be gelling better. Seem to build a certain camaraderie and confidence in one another, and you know other people are starting to score other than just here. So on a consistent basis, you know I like what Latrell Wrightsl's done the last couple of games has been amazing
mm-hmm. Yeah,
with
he's
his three
really
point shooting,
turned it
and
on.
he really
Uh,
has.
yeah, Aaron
Uh,
Estrada coming on strong.
all right, you know he had a couple of tough games in a row, but he really
Mm,
had a big game last night, dropping 18, 7 and
mm-hmm,
6. And of course, the big Nelson, I mean, he's coming around, figuring out the physicality of the SEC, being, of course, a little different than the North Dakota State. You know, he's learning how to
mm-hmm.
finish at the rim when he gets in contact, and his defense is really coming around as well.
Yeah.
You know, I like the energy of the team now. They seem to be picked it up defensively, not as much a liability. Of course, you know, you like to see them get a complete game, but hey, I'll take the month for what it was outside that Tennessee game, which seems to kind of be an outlier. You know, kind of game you just throw away. The other games seem to be more of what we'll expect to see from this team going forward. I would say.
Yeah, and a good response to that horrible effort at Tennessee last weekend too. With such a big game at home coming in, but of course, a couple of the Bama football guys in the house, Jalen
Hmm.
Milrow, especially after the weird beginning. We didn't even mention, the lights going
The
out at the very
life,
beginning of the game and about a
yeah,
20-minute delay to it
yeah,
to get them fixed. So once again, we are
right.
pleading with Greg Byrne and the Alabama boosters and the
Please.
board, build a new arena, blow
It was
up Coleman
terrible.
Coliseum.
It was terrible when we were there, and that's been 20 years,
Coleman
almost 20
hasn't
years.
been a good arena since the '80s.
Yeah,
Um,
still
yeah,
the darkest
please.
place in America.
It is. It is a cavernous. It is just the Bat Cave.
Yeah,
I'm surprised there are not bats in it. Yeah, I'm surprised we don't have like this the
right,
Spurs with bats flying
right.
around.
Yeah, have to bring out the mascot and the Batman
Mhm.
suit every now and again to get some.
But yeah, just please, but build the damn arena, y'all. Just send
Yeah,
Coleman to hell where it belongs.
right,
Um, get Nate Oates a damn arena and facilities so he doesn't go
yeah,
bolt for somewhere else. Um,
right.
but yeah, another no easy weeks in the SEC. Another
Mm,
tough one on the road at Georgia this week.
yeah.
A Georgia team that's better, a lot better than they have been in the past.
Oh yeah,
Really never a great basketball school, but they had some really
they've had
down years,
yeah.
and they are definitely they're better. 4-3 in the SEC, 14-6 overall. So
Yeah,
uh,
definitely one you kind of worry about a little bit just because you know they have now two big wins in a row. Probably back in the top 25 this week. That's
mhm,
kind of a midweek game. You're going on the road. That happens. At times we struggle with that type of game. So hopefully they keep plodding along there. Because yeah, you're definitely not a team you can sleep on in the SEC, especially on the road. I mean, that's
mhm,
just what the conference has turned into, is basketball wise.
yeah, and a Georgia team that fights hard.
They do.
They don't necessarily beat the big teams, but they've played
They give them a
Tennessee and
game.
Kentucky and Florida really hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
they were down 21 to Florida and got it down to four. I mean
yeah,
they
went to
fight hard.
overtime. Yeah, got it to
Yeah.
overtime. So we'll see
Mm.
here. Is San Francisco? It looks like they'll be able to snap it. They'll have to snap it on fourth down, but they'll be able to run out the clock here. Um,
Boy, man,
so
the
Detroit
pain of
needs a
a miracle.
miracle bad snap something here to
They
happen.
need
But I guess
who
what
was
you do
the
if you're
who was
yeah.
the quarterback at Arkansas? Was that Clint Sterner back in
Clint
'98?
Sterner. Oh man.
All he had to do was down the kneel the ball against Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
Good God.
Trips, fumbles, and
Mm,
if
mm,
if
mm.
if he holds on to that, Tennessee doesn't win that title.
Yeah, yeah, it's such a ah
But
man. You hate this for Detroit because
hmm
just because you don't just with their history, you always wonder will they ever get back to the NFC title game again.
hmm
I mean, this is their first one since '91, but it's
hmm
been a heck of a ride there. I mean, nothing to hang their heads about, but
and a
man, you
great
just hate it
foundation.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they have
yeah.
a
I mean,
great
they've
foundation there. They're going to sign Golf to an extension. They got
hmm
all their weapons are young. St. Brown's young, Jameson
yeah,
Williams young, Jameer Gibbs young,
yeah.
Penny Sewell, their big time offensive lineman, young. Their
Young, yeah,
defense, the stars young.
yeah. Brian Branch,
Yeah,
young guy, looks like he's on the path of stardom, and
yeah. And Dave Campbell,
but you just
their coach, young Dan
totally
Campbell. Sorry.
young coach, and Dan Campbell, and he's just a
Mhm,
a guy that I think players will want to play for. I mean, he seems like a guy that you run through a wall for. It seems to,
mhm.
be a players type of guy. Believes in his team. Obviously, he goes for it on fourth down so often.
Yeah.
I mean, so I mean, it seems like they have a good culture in place, which is
Mhm,
not really something you think of when you think of Detroit Lion football, but they seem to be in the right direction there. I mean, of course, there's fortunately no moral victories in especially pro sports, but hopefully they will continue to build on what this season was. Because a heck of a special season for them.
mhm.
And now we have Chiefs and 49ers Super Bowl. Mm.
Yeah. A rematch of a few years ago.
You'd
Uh,
expect a great game. Um,
yeah. It should be. Yeah, absolutely. Two great offensive minded coaches.
mhm.
You
I
know,
would think San Francisco is going to be more ready for it this time.
mhm.
Last time I mean, they were in the game with the Chiefs, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I
they
think they have a
had
better.
it.
They have a better. Yeah, I'm telling you, I think they have a better offense than what they did the last time for the top to bottom. But
Yeah,
should be a good one there in
no
2
Tariq Hill
weeks.
on the Kansas City side to make a huge fourth down
Yeah.
player like last. But yeah, we'll
Hmm.
see. Keeping on the hardwood, we'll go to the pro game. Big week in the NBA. Doc
Wow.
Rivers is the new Bucks coach. Um, it
Yeah. Wow.
out of out of
That's just
nowhere, it
wow.
seemed like he was happy to be in TV, and
Yeah.
but when you're a competitive guy and they call you with an offer to
Uh,
coach Giannis and Dame.
I mean, yeah, you got to go back, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
but I just don't like. I mean, I think there has to be more to it than what the Bucks sold it as. Is he just didn't seem like he kind of sold it as he's a great guy, but it doesn't seem like he was what we needed to win a championship. But you knew it was his first time as a head coach. Like
Hmm.
I don't I just like you knew what you were getting when you signed him, but here we are. You're still very much with the second team in the East. The
Hmm.
defense maybe not as good, but you're still winning games. I mean, we have plenty of time to figure it out still. Like, my goodness. I just thought just a terrible time to get rid of your coach. I mean, tough situation for him. And then, Doc Rivers, I mean, I don't know. Overall, he's a good coach, but, just, has his known struggles in the playoffs, with
Hmm.
the Clippers. And, it's been a while. I mean, that '08 title, it's been a while now for Doc.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's a move I'm making, if I'm making a move and that
Hmm.
drastic of a change, if I believe that Doc Rivers is going to, yeah, I'm sure the defense will be a little better under Doc. I mean, he's well experienced. Maybe have a little bit more respect in the locker room. But I don't know. I don't know what the relationship was for the players. Maybe that was the issue. I just think,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah, that feels like one of those things we'll get a story after the season, like the some behind the scene thing, a riff between
Yeah.
coach and players type thing.
Yeah, did he not get along with Giannis? I mean, what, like
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
I just don't
Um,
get like how you give up on a guy that quickly when they're not failing.
yeah, it wasn't like they were seventh or in
Yeah,
the play-in spots. They
and
were, like you
yeah,
said, the two seed, and
the two seed
um,
with 30 and 13 at the time that he's fired. Like
hmm
goodness,
yeah.
just a
So
tough out. Like wow.
yeah, there's definitely got to be more to that story.
Yeah, for sure.
We do know Doc Rivers because he said it while watching their games. He's probably going to run a lot more pick and roll with Dame and Giannis now.
Yeah,
So we'll see. Maybe that's something that
maybe.
unlock something there. But like you said, the offense really isn't the problem in
Yeah,
Milwaukee. I think they're the highest scoring team
yeah. I mean, they put
in
up
the East.
points
In the East, at least, maybe in the NBA. If I'm looking at
because
average
then
points a
hadn't they
game,
before they fired him? Hadn't they just beat Boston like the Friday
hmm
before?
yeah, it's a weird thing. They are the
My
second
goodness.
highest scoring team in the league,
Yeah.
behind the Pacers, surprisingly enough. But yeah, their defense, not they were one of the points wise, points per games wise, lower third of the league.
Yeah, but
But so
that's
yeah, like you
something like,
said, I think there's a story that comes after the
oh
season
yeah,
about
has to be.
yeah,
But that
it's a
has to be the
weird thing.
toughest fire ever. That's even tougher than after the Raptors fired Dwayne Casey after he won the coach of the year because he
Hmm.
didn't go as far as they would have liked in the playoffs. But at least he got the whole season, you know.
Yeah,
But this, it's like what do you expect it to do? I mean, it's his first time as a head coach, so things are gonna adjust. I mean, we've seen coaches get better as the season goes. I mean, you gotta look at it. Remember last season? I mean, the Celtics were ready to get rid of their coach, and then
hmm
they had that run. I Man, I just, I understand it's about winning here and now, but he hasn't done anything to show that he can't win.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, yeah. So that's weird.
weird situation all around. Other big news this week, a big trade. Terry Rozier now to the Heat um, for Kyle Lowry and some picks going back the other way to Charlotte.
Hmm.
Interesting, scary Terry down there in Miami.
Definitely a guy who can put up points.
Yeah, give
You know,
give Jimmy Butler some help there on the
for
offensive side
sure,
of the ball.
for
But
sure.
speaking of scoring points, what a
Whew,
week it was for
what
stars
a
to drop
week!
some points. Your
My
boy Luca
goodness,
dropped 73,
73.
the highest total since Kobe's 81 back in '06.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Embiid dropped 70 early in the week.
Yeah, top
We thought
70
that,
on what
you know,
we thought that was sweet.
yeah,
And then of
yeah,
course that
dropped
same night,
70, and
Cat
then
dropped
yeah, and then Cat and Devin Booker both scored 62 points and lost.
and
Um,
losses. That's the worst part about it. My goodness.
yeah, just a ridiculous week for scoring.
Yeah, it was.
Just great for fans. Some great game. LeBron and Steph, the Warriors and Lakers, a double
Oh
overtime
man.
classic. Just
Yeah.
last
I
night.
mean, I caught the highlights of that. I was watching a Royal Rumble, but
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
this a epic, just an epic clash there, and
Hmm.
still, it's just amazing though to think about that. LeBron is 39, playing at
Hmm.
that level. That's
His
just incredible.
21st season in the NBA, and still, yeah.
And any night
If,
can what- just drop crazy numbers. And all around getting rebounds, points. I mean, it's not even like it's not even a fabricated thing where they're giving him just he still fits into the offense and not forcing them to kind of manufacturing points, putting him in situations where he can score because at the end of his career type of thing. I mean, he's still an MVP caliber type of player. It's crazy.
hmm. Yeah,
It's amazing what his career has been. And the
yeah.
thing is like with all the LeBron hate, that still goes around, and it just and fans like, one day we're just gonna realize, man, it's gonna be so many to realize what he did was just so special, just from the time he came to the league, and just his whole career has just been crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe not the titles that maybe won't catch Jordan, and maybe not the best comparison there as far as just the way they play, but I mean, just what we've seen over the last 20 plus years has been amazing.
Hmm. Um, yeah, just a crazy week. As far as
Hmm.
scoring goes, as we get closer to All Star Week, and starters were announced this week.
Yep.
Um, uh, Dame, a first time starter. That's the big one. As um, we go back to the East West split.
East West, yeah. I like
Yeah,
that better, I think.
yeah.
And then
They
I guess
keep.
the biggest snub that I saw this week, not that anybody didn't deserve to be on the team, but it's crazy to see, the stats that Jalen Brunson's put up this year, and he didn't make the All Star team there. So I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. And of course, rid by his buddy teammate Josh Hart, and going back teammates at Villanova. I don't know if you saw that, but on
Yeah,
Twitter, Josh Hart quoted said, "What did he say? Something like, damn, you suck,' or
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Good stuff.
but crazy, yeah, yeah. Donovan Mitchell, not a starter. He's had a great year, but Dame, first time start, you got to give it to him. Kawhi Leonard's had such a great year for the Clippers. He didn't, is not a starter there. So yeah, a couple of snubs
Well,
there, like you mentioned, the big
yeah, a
ones.
couple snubs, but I mean that West starting you. I mean, it should. there's just so much talent in the league. There's so many. I don't know. It's just crazy. Just amount of stars are in the league right now. I mean, it's just full of some of the just epic off. At least on the offensive side, the defense has been a little lacking this NBA season. But I mean,
Hmm.
there's just so many scores and so much talent in the league right now. It's just the NBA is definitely in a great spot. I mean, just so much young talent that it's I I love where the game is right now.
Yeah. Um, are they keeping the that weird rule, or are they just going back to the old school 4 quarters?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
The
like I like the 4 quarters, but
the Elam ending, that's what it's called.
yeah,
It's called. Yeah, I'm with you. I like to split back to the West versus East. I think it's better for rivalries and stuff. Uh, Kind of, it's fun to see
yeah,
that split when it comes to the All Star game. As much as I'm a proponent of just pretty much getting rid of conferences in major sports and just going to big divisions, um,
yeah. I
I
think
do like I do like it for this reason for the All Star game.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, but As all I have on my notes for this week. Is there anything else in the world of sports you wanted to touch on?
In the world of sports, I guess as far as I thought last night's Royal Rumble was a epic event. I
Mhm.
enjoyed it. Great event to watch. Definitely a lot of surprises that came into the Rumble, especially on the
Mhm.
women's side.
Yeah, I thought the women's
Um,
rumble was great. One of the better women's rumble
and ever,
matches
yeah,
in
I
its
thought that
short
was
history.
epic.
Yeah.
You
Um,
know, just with the overall, just the evolution of women's wrestling in general. Just from where it
mhm.
was, just about the sex appeal, and when we, in the Attitude Era,
Mhm.
just about the sex appeal, and but and then there was, the really only wrestler you was China, and now like there's some epic talent on the women's side of wrestling.
Uh,
And then they have some great matches.
yeah, it's an absolute star power. Jade Cargo, great debut for her.
Oh, was it?
Um,
She just
and
she's
a
picking
great
up Nia
pop.
Jax.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh, yeah. She is. Yeah. Anybody I'm happy she got the big pop she did too.
Oh yeah.
Wrestling fans a lot more educated than they used to be now, of course, so they knew who she was coming in, and she had, appeared
Hmm.
on WWE programming
Yeah.
beforehand. But yeah, absolutely great pop, great moment for her. Love to stare down with her and Bianca Belair. Um,
That's gonna be epic, some epic matchups
yeah,
at some point.
on the guy's side. I'm not a big Cody Rhodes fan as a face, but I get why they're going there with him. You know, um,
You know, for a while, I got out of wrestling for a while just because, life and kids and, you
hmm
know, but when it moved to the Peacock and pay-per-views being on Peacock, that's kind of when I got back into it. So I had some time off there, good little bit. For a while, I couldn't stand Cody.
yeah.
I've come around a little bit to him. I don't know. He's a likable enough guy.
It just,
I
I think
don't
it's a
know.
personal thing with me. I could not just, for whatever reason, like the whole thing, the American Nightmare,
Yeah.
the expensive, suits and all that. He's just, uh, to me, it just screams heel, like kind of, and it works in,
Yeah, you want
opposite.
to see, you would love to see it. I would love to
hmm
see it.
hmm And I think it
Um,
works in just great opposition and juxtaposition to, his dad, to Dusty Roll's whole thing being the common man. I feel
mhm.
like there's something there. But again, like I said, I get why WWE pushes it. The crowd loves them.
Yeah,
Finish the story, as they say.
yeah. You would have to
But
think that this
mhm,
is going to be the time that I guess Roman may actually
uh,
lose.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think you give him a set. If you
If you
don't,
don't,
you don't. I don't think you give him a second run at it to not have
yeah,
him win this time. I wouldn't think. We'll see.
no. Uh, but yeah,
We shall see.
Yeah, we'll see. I, that said, I would laugh my ass off if Roman won at WrestleMania again.
How pissed
Just
off would a lot of people be?
so mad. It would break the internet.
Because
Um,
there's so many people that hate Roman, and I love it just from the
mhm,
aspect of it's almost like the Hulk Hogan run in WCW when he was at the
mhm.
NWO, and he never won a match by himself ever.
No,
But
yeah.
he had a long run with the title, and it's so funny.
Mhm,
But people seem to be tired of it. You know, and I don't know, where that story's really going because the bloodline story is, yeah, definitely not as. I don't like it as much without Jay Uso there as well. So I
mhm.
don't know.
There's a little second I thought Jay might go, wire to wire there.
He was
Because you know,
there. He was there
yeah,
for over an hour. He
yeah,
was there. I was like, wow,
put up a good effort.
he did.
Andrade El
Came
Idolo
back.
back in
Yeah,
WWE. Good
yeah.
pickup for them, of course. He's back there with his wife Charlotte Flair.
Hmm.
Um, some people disappointed in no Sasha Banks return at the 30 spot in the Rumble.
Yeah,
Um, a little tease there too. They waited the good beat there to
yeah, they
play
did.
Liv Morgan's music at number 30.
All
And
right.
she got a nice surprise, come back from injury herself.
Come
Good
back
for
from
her.
injury, so that was cool.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah, I've been a Liv Morgan
yeah,
fan since her NXT days. And her character, she's one of those, her characters are always evolving. And
yeah,
she's always improving in the ring. So good for her.
yeah.
Happy
She's
for her. Yeah.
definitely come a long way in the ring and tough for
Hmm.
sure. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I thought it was a good overall, very
Hmm.
very entertaining pay per view. And be interesting to see all the story build up for as we get to the road to WrestleMania. See how that all
Yeah.
plays out.
But yeah. And of course, interested, check out what the boys at the Alabama Slam have to say about that this
Yeah,
week.
I'm sure they have a lot to talk. They definitely have a lot to talk about.
I was about to say, I feel like there's another big story around WWE this week that might have happened, but we'll let them talk about
Yeah,
that one. Yeah.
yeah. Yikes.
Um, well, yeah, we'll let them
Just yikes.
handle that one.
Yeah, that's just yikes.
Yeah, that
Bro,
yeah,
the attitude era was real life.
yeah. It's like,
Yeah, my
man.
goodness, my
Let's see.
goodness.
But oh, I remembered one more thing, sports related thing I want to talk about.
Hmm.
I saw you made a Facebook post or something about it too. But hey, Texas and Texas fans,
Oh my goodness.
you need to toughen up before you get to the SEC.
Ooh boy.
Because if you are that bothered by the horns down shit, y'all are going to get eaten alive in this conference. Because I tell you
Oh
what,
my God.
you're not going to get that treatment to Big 12. You are not the
No
brand in the
sirree.
SEC. The
No
SEC is the brand
sirree.
in the SEC. We're not going to make it a
Mm-hmm.
penalty for horns down. We're not going to
Mm-mm.
ask
And
students to change their
to take
shirts
off
that
the
say horns
shirt.
down. Yeah.
My goodness.
Uh,
Like what is
oh.
going on? And it's doing no favors coming
Mm-mm.
into the SEC. Like I would, if I'm Texas, I'm like, this is not a good look coming into the SEC.
No,
Like
there's going to be a
they're
student
gonna,
section somewhere. It's going to do like the soccer fans in Europe, a big old tifo in
oh
one
yeah,
end zone. There's going to be a 50-foot tall horns down
oh yeah, you know it.
sign. Yeah, they're like
Oh
somebody's going
yeah.
to paint one on the field or something. Like
Like literally,
it's
you're coming into the SEC with three of your biggest rivals in A&M, Arkansas, and
mm-hmm,
OU.
mm-hmm.
That in itself, plus the other current teams that
Yeah,
don't like you just because you're Texas.
yeah. Uh, you
So
got
yeah,
LSU right there, a
toughen up.
Bordeaux rivalry of sorts. They just
Right,
don't like you, even though you haven't played that much, if ever. I don't even know.
right. I mean, just Texas and Louisiana people. I mean, it's just a natural
Yeah,
rivalry of
y-
sorts.
yeah. Yeah, you got Alabama who you beat this year.
Yeah,
They don't like you.
yeah.
You
I mean,
got
it's just a natural thing. People are gonna
yeah,
give you the horns down.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not overly disrespectful. I mean, it's not like it's a horns down, big deal.
No, it's one thing, yeah, if like during a game a player puts a horns down in a Texas player's face, okay, well, that's taunting.
Yeah,
That's the flag. But the whole symbolic, it's not offensive. It's not
and it,
vulgar in any. It's
yeah,
just, oof. I mean, it's
yeah.
their
I,
first.
I,
Looking at their SEC schedule here, uh, pretty lucky so far. So they do have a big road game early in the year. It's not SEC. They go at Michigan the second week of the year.
that'd be an interesting game.
Yeah, it's an interesting game right there. But their SEC schedule, they get home games the first couple weeks. So they get State at home to start their
Hmm.
SEC career. Then they have a week off. Then they have the Red River Shootout, and then they get a big one. Georgia comes to Austin. It's a huge
Hmm.
one there,
That
and then they go to Vanderbilt. It's their first ever SEC road game.
well,
Um,
that's not they'll
not
be fine then.
intimidating, not intimidating, but maybe some clever. They're clever there at
But they'll
least.
they'll they'll, they'll have
Yeah.
some
Uh,
they'll have some funny stuff there.
Now,
Yeah,
granted,
for sure.
usually, of course, with those bigger programs, it's more of a favor for the a visiting team. So,
Yeah.
um, but here's it. So then they have another week off. Then they have Florida in Austin too. And here's the big
Hmm.
one: Saturday, November 16th at DWR Razorback Stadium in
Mm.
Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Oh,
Oh
we
man.
know the hate. We know the hatred there. Them
Hmm.
folks in Arkansas. If there's
Uh-huh.
a team that they hate, it's Texas.
And
You can
and then
cancel the. You can cancel that rivalry game with Missouri. You can
uh-huh.
cancel anything.
Yeah.
Texas has been there ever since the eternity. I mean, my whole life has been nothing but hatred in Fayetteville for for
Mhm.
Texas. I mean, there's some on the reverse, but I mean, just how deep it is on the Arkansas side is
Mhm.
a thing of legend.
Yeah.
As we
And then
saw a couple years ago when Texas came into Fayetteville and got smacked. I mean, that
Yeah,
atmosphere
exactly.
was crazy.
And then they end their season at Kyle Field.
Mm,
So
wow.
yeah. Hmm. And that's just football. That's not even to say we start talking about basketball venues. Which, by the way, if you're listening, you don't know what we're talking about. They played a road game at BYU this week, and
Right.
in the student section, they're wearing all white T-shirts. In the front row, some
Oh,
kids had
wow.
horns down spelled out on their T-shirts, and they asked them to remove them. Um,
No, what, like, did
First of
they take
all,
them off? Did they
they
take
must.
them off?
I bet say they must be too nice there. It must be the Mormon thing. Because if you went into any SEC student section and asked
Get
them to
them
take it
the
off,
FU.
yeah, you would get laughed. Like the referee would have nothing to do there. So,
Like, what? Like, I mean, it wasn't offensive. It wasn't like they had fuck Texas. So, it's just
exactly.
something
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, it's horns down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a BYU is going to get more offensive than that. Just
Yeah.
with how their whole honor code and what what they don't
Yeah.
wouldn't allow.
This would be
That's
like
just wild.
if we we've been a game in Jordan Hare and lost
Yeah,
twice actually, but Auburn they
yeah.
sing their own version of Rammer Jammer. I, we don't cry to the SEC office about it. We just
It is what it is.
yeah, it is what it is.
We
We
should
might
have.
talk some shit
I
about
mean,
how
we
they're unoriginal,
expected.
but that's it. Yeah.
I mean, we expected. I mean, that's the joy of a
Mhm.
hated rivalry in sports. I mean, you lose a
Yeah.
game and you're going to hear about
Yeah.
it.
Um.
I mean,
So yeah.
if Horns down on the T-shirt gets, and then I want to know who asked him to take it off. Was it like
Uh
the
huh.
Texas
Yeah.
coach again, or who in the Texas side of things was like, "Hey guys, can you tell them
Yeah.
to take those shirts off?"
Uh huh. Yeah.
And
Who?
then was it something like were they forced to, or did they have a choice, or that's what I want to know. Like,
Yeah. There's a whole lot out of that story. It's just it's just not
yikes,
like you said.
it's
It's
not a
not a
good
good
look.
look. Is all. It's
No.
especially coming just a couple weeks after their coach had the whole thing with you
Yeah,
know
this that's
in the
against
handshake
Central
line.
Florida.
Yeah.
It's not like they're known for being a
Yeah, this isn't
I mean,
even
no,
long. It's not like they're in Lubbock or something. Like
no, it's not even
it's
an intimidating atmosphere. I mean,
uh,
BYU is a solid atmosphere, but you're not like, oh my gosh.
yeah, exactly.
There's not a, there's not, it's not like there's a deep hatred to BYU. They just did it because Horns Down is a unanimous thing around the country. That's what people say to Texas.
Hmm.
I mean, there's no hatred there. They don't have the history.
Um,
I mean, when they go to Lubbock, yeah, I don't think that they played at Lubbock this, but I mean, it's their last time going to Lubbock in basketball. How's that going to be?
yeah, exactly. It's whew.
Yikes.
Um,
Even going to Baylor, they, I don't know if they've been to Baylor this year or not. That's their last time.
y-
It's just crazy.
yeah, it's it. And then one more random story too. Just the other one I missed. Oh, Keyshawn Butte. Uh,
Oh, wow.
this week was found to have bet over 8,900 times. Placed 8,900 bets. Um,
Well,
various
underage.
bets. Yeah, underage bets at while at LSU, including the funniest one is not this year's uh, Florida
Oh,
State
boy.
game, but the one before where he bet on himself to have over 42 and a half yards and a touchdown, and he had
And he didn't
one
even.
catch for like 16 yards or something.
That's why I
Um,
was so pissed on the sideline.
and he's like, "Man, I'm losing money here. Throw me the
Oh,
ball.
man.
I got a G on
Yeah.
this."
Yeah.
That was just
And then the
some.
other funny thing too was just his usernames like Keyshawn Booty and Keyshawn Booty one or something. It's like, come on, bro.
Yeah, have some originality there, man.
Like, it
Some
shouldn't be that
creativity.
obvious. Yeah. Like, I
Um,
don't understand the. I will say it's funny from that aspect, but at the same time, is that really something that you should be getting arrested for? I mean, if you
eh,
didn't get caught at that time,
yeah, what's the
like.
statute of limitations on it? Yeah.
Yeah, no, like, is that really the resources that we spending for cops to go arrest kids that play sports bets? Like, I'm just not that worried about it. Like, it's a hilarious story, but come on, like, just let it go. It's embarrassing enough that it came out as it did. That he bet on himself, and I mean that's the funny in itself. But to actually have him arrested and everything, like, that's just over the top. Like, what? Like, well, what are you in jail for? Oh, I played bets. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
So yeah, some weird
But
off the field stuff
yeah,
going on this week in sports.
yeah. It
Um,
makes you just wonder, like, how many
mhm.
college athletes are placing bets? Because you have to think it's not that limited.
No,
it's happening. It's happening. I mean, no matter what. I mean, Jameer Gibb. I mean, Jameson Williams didn't just go to the NFL and just start making bets. I wouldn't think. You know.
no, yeah, yeah. Well, especially with the
And
ease of it now with the
yeah,
apps and everything, and it's
yeah,
just
and
time to.
everything.
You look at it like over in England and all, and there are actual like
Hmm.
sports books in stadiums and stuff.
Yeah,
It's just one of those things where when you make it illegal and you make it so taboo that it kind of forces people to be shady about it. And but then on the other hand, you're also promoting it so much now with all these apps and
yeah. Like,
commercials and sponsorships for
of course
games.
they're gonna
Yeah,
like. It's so hard. Like, yeah, they've
yeah,
opened it and welcomed in so many spots that's never been welcomed before. Yes, and then
mhm,
you're telling, oh, by the way, you can't do this.
yeah,
Like, I
um,
understand you can't because I mean just the integrity of the game and everything, but I don't think that these players are really out there throwing games. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Like, he didn't. He bet on himself and lost. Obviously, he wasn't trying to throw that game.
mhm.
It wasn't. He wasn't doing anything to hurt the integrity of college football per se.
No,
Like
no,
like when when after Calvin Ridley got hurt or whatever, and he was betting. I mean, it wasn't hurting the integrity of the NFL. you know, he might have had a
Yeah,
little bit of inside info just because he's the player and may know who may be hurt, but it wasn't changing outcomes. It
no,
wasn't
and
like
then
he was out there throwing games and stuff,
yeah, and of course that's
dropping
what you want.
passes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what you want to avoid is, the insider
yeah,
knowledge, which, yeah, of course, that's why that's illegal. You shouldn't, that's basically cheating. Things,
yeah.
they could swing it. Like if a guy may not, a starter may not play a lot, you can slam his, backup for having a big game or something like
Hmm.
that. But yeah, just another a funny story, weird story.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead, get out of here. What's done up real good for you lately?
This week, honestly, I would probably say again back to the Royal Rumble. I mean, I just
Mhm.
love the event, love watching with the kids, trying to pull them, especially my son. I mean, he's 9, so pulling him a little bit into wrestling. Good
Mhm.
time for him to get, like it. I guess overall, little cleaner than when we were kids. So I mean, it's a more
Yeah.
family family oriented. I mean, it's not like it was. I mean, there's no DX or
Yeah.
NWO
A lot
type of
cleaner, yeah, a lot cleaner for the
lot
for the
cleaner.
kids these days,
But
yeah.
yeah, not so much. You'd have to explain is when you're now when you go to school today, you cannot do the second side.
No, I can't let you wear that T-shirt,
Yeah,
Um,
can't wear the second shirt to school
no, yeah,
today.
yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I had to buy a DX shirt that didn't have the "suck it" on the back. It's just the one on the front, just the
Yeah,
DX logo. So that's what I was allowed to wear to school. Um,
that's funny. How about you?
um, I'll piggyback a little bit. Say, yeah, of course, the Rumble. It's my favorite event of the WWE, the wrestling year.
Hmm.
Just it's when it's done right too, like they did. You weave so
Oh
many
yeah.
different stories together. You have your big debuts, your big
Hmm.
returns. It's just a lot of fun. I really want to
Yeah.
get to one live one day.
Oh
Just
yeah,
hoping
that'd be
hoping they come
beautiful.
back somewhere close to me at some point. To
Yeah,
Atlanta or L.A. or
yeah,
hell, we got a nice
right,
arena here, and we got a nice new stadium here in Birmingham. Of course, maybe January is not the time to be an outdoor event here,
right, yeah.
but
I've been
yeah,
wondering even in April for WrestleMania, is Philly gonna be warm? Like, what is the weather
that
gonna be like for that event?
that is a good question. But yeah, and
Because it's
that's
hit
my
or
I guess
miss weather. It's hit or miss
anywhere else, yeah.
weather.
I about to say, yeah, that was gonna my other done up real good is it's finally, the weather got a little warmer here,
Yeah.
but the trade off was it's just been raining and miserable all week. Just
Hmm.
nothing but rain.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
poor
We've had a
dog.
lot
She
of
all she wants to do
yeah.
is go for a walk and she can't.
All right.
She
Can't.
hates the
Yeah.
rain. So
Yeah.
um
We're finally above freezing and for the most part, but yeah, it's been dreary and rainy here a lot. So, I mean, we've had a lot of non-sunny days, but hey, it's the snow's starting to melt a little bit, so I guess can't
mhm.
complain too much. But
Yeah. We'll take what we can though, right?
right,
But that should do it for us this week, folks. As always, thanks for listening. Hope you continue to do so. Do subscribe, give us good ratings wherever you listen to us. Tell your friends about us. Tell your rich friends about us. Check out all the great podcasts on the Alabama Take Family Podcast. Like we mentioned, should be a fun show for the Alabama Slam Boys this week,
hmm,
reviewing the
for
Rumble,
sure.
and of course, like we said, the other big news in WWE.
Hmm.
Um, check out all the great podcasts we have, taking it down. Check Your Shelf released a new episode recently for you book fans. Of course, check the alabamatake.com. We have our weekly challenge coverage as MTV's The Challenge is getting down close to the final. And of course, other great writings that pop up on the site. Um, you can catch Greg over at Bama Hammer, his opinions on the Tide. You can check us out all on our handles online. I try to do a little bit more on social media when I remember to. But you can follow us basically everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads. Uh, I got a handle on all of them for just taking on sports.
Nice.
But thank you once again for listening, folks. Keep it done up real good out there yourselves, Greg. Man, we'll catch you next week.
Yes, sir.